This is Thursday Thoughts for June the 11th, 2026 here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. Here's a thought. The phrase unfaithful Christian is an oxymoron. These two terms are in opposition to one another. These two terms are in conflict with one another. They're contradictory in many different ways. The idea of an unfaithful Christian does not make sense when you have a biblical understanding of the word Christian. Now, I know there is a late modern English definition we could give to the term that would encompass all sorts of different kinds of people. But what we're interested in here is, what is the biblical definition? What is the definition that would be taught to us through the Messiah's word? We see this word first introduced in Acts 11, verse 26, where it states at the end of the verse, "And the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch." So, who were the Christians? The disciples, the followers of the Christ. That I-A-N ending, that indicates affiliation with, association with, support for, a follower of. And so it makes sense that disciples of the Christ, they're called Christians. But that does remind us what a Christian is. A disciple of the Christ. We also see it used in Acts 26, verse 28, where it states, "Then Agrippa said to Paul, 'You almost persuade me to become a Christian.'" So a Christian, to be a Christian, requires a change. It requires a new life. It's something you become. It's not something you just automatically are because of the culture in which you live and that sort of thing. It requires a transformation. In 1 Peter 4, verse 16, it states, "Yet if anyone suffers as a Christian," now this is the third usage in the New Testament of the word, "let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in this matter." Anyone suffers as a Christian. Now this is in contrast with the verse before. It talks about certain things for which a person might suffer that are evil things, that are things that a person would justly suffer. But here in verse 16, we're essentially talking about suffering for things that are not evil. In other words, suffering as a Christian, that there is a righteous lifestyle that goes with it, for which sometimes you may suffer. But consider those things: a righteous lifestyle, a change required, that one is a disciple of the Christ. Now, a disciple of the Christ, according to John 8:31, is somebody that abides in Jesus' word. That's somebody that is truly his disciple. So that means to truly be a Christian, you need to abide in his word. This is why the idea of an unfaithful Christian, it's an oxymoron. Because a Christian is abiding in Christ's word. If you're abiding in Christ's word, you are not unfaithful. You are following him. You're abiding in him. You're obeying his commandments. So really, there's no such thing as an unfaithful Christian. There are Christians, then there are those that have become unfaithful. But an unfaithful Christian, that is an oxymoron. You have a good rest of the day, and shalom.